The red dress shimmered beneath the golden lights as she stepped through the grand doorway. Laughter echoed, glasses clinked, and whispers rippled through the crowd. They had invited her to humiliate her, to remind her of the scars of childhood cruelty. But none of them knew who she had become or the storm she carried with her. Years earlier, in a dusty classroom, she had been the ugly girl. Her hair wasn't styled like theirs, her shoes were secondhand, and her notebooks were filled with drawings instead of brand labels. Classmates mocked her every day. Some shoved her in hallways, others whispered cruel jokes. And when invitations to birthdays or dances were handed out, hers was always missing. But she learned silence was power. She carried her sketchbook everywhere, pouring her pain into designs, fabrics, and shapes. Every tear that slipped onto the page became a new idea. And when she left high school, she left their laughter behind too. Her classmates didn't know that life had pushed her harder than any of them. She worked late nights cleaning, took sewing jobs for pennies, and studied design while the world told her to quit. By 24, she was flying to Milan and Paris, her name whispered in fashion houses. By 26, she had launched her own label. Yet to those in this room, she was still the girl they had called ugly. The party was meant to be a reunion, but the intent was poison. When she opened the glittering invitation weeks before, she knew their smiles would hide knives. Still, she chose the red dress, a symbol of fire, a color that could not be ignored. As she entered, eyes widened. Some of her old classmates gasped softly, though others smirked behind champagne glasses. A tall man leaned toward his friend and muttered, "She actually came." The friend chuckled, "This will be fun." But as she walked further into the room, the air seemed to shift. Her confidence unsettled them. The red dress hugged her figure with elegance, her posture was regal, and the way her eyes scanned the crowd carried weight they did not recognize. The laughter faltered when a famous gallery owner rushed to her side, embracing her warmly. "You made it," he said, loud enough for the room to hear. "We just finalized your exhibit. Your brand will headline Paris this year." Murmurs spread quickly. Classmates exchanged confused glances. The cruelest of them, a woman who once led the taunts, raised her glass. "So," she said with a brittle laugh, "you're still drawing little doodles?" Her words carried the same venom from years ago. The girl in red only smiled. "Yes," she answered softly. "And those doodles are now worth more than this house." The silence that followed was heavy. Someone coughed. Others shifted uncomfortably. But the worst was yet to come. For the twist arrived not with her words, but with her actions. From her clutch, she pulled an envelope and placed it on the table. Inside were contracts. The mansion they stood in had just been sold, and she was the buyer. Their old, ugly classmate now owned the very ground where they had gathered to mock her. One line left their lips dry, a line they would never forget. "You once locked me out of your world. Tonight, I own it." Shock rippled across every face. The woman who mocked her earlier dropped her glass. Others stared at the floor, ashamed. The classmates who had built their lives on arrogance and privilege now stood powerless. And then, in a quiet moment, she offered them something unexpected. "Respect is worth more than money," she said. "But you never gave me either. That's why you lost the chance to stand beside me." The night ended with whispers, not laughter. People who had once sneered at the girl in torn shoes now bowed their heads in silence. Her red dress blazed like fire as she left, not as the girl they had mocked, but as the woman who had turned pain into power. Her story became a reminder whispered long after the party ended. Mocking someone's struggle may cost you everything when their rise outshines your cruelty.